Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm Wendy Myers of MyersDetox.com. Thank you so much for joining me for today's webinar that we are doing. I'm really excited that you're here because I have some information I want to communicate to you about the coronavirus, and I was very disappointed and very dismayed that the Facebook Live that I attempted last week on this subject was blocked by Facebook. And I'm learning this is a common occurrence across YouTube videos, Twitter, Facebook, other places. There's just a suppression of information about this, and it makes me wonder why. So I did this, want to do this webinar off of any kind of social media platform so no one can control it or block it. So today, and just to let you guys know, if you miss any part of this, you can watch it again. You're going to get a replay link. As soon as this is done, you'll be emailed a replay link. There'll be a replay link in my newsletter tomorrow, and you can watch it there as well. So don't worry, and you can ask all your questions. I'm going to answer all of your questions. We're going to be here for a while. And so I'm going to turn on the chat so that you guys can ask all the questions you have. There's a lot of people here. There's over, almost 2,000 people registered for this webinar. Obviously, people are concerned. So thank you for taking the time to join me. So let's get started. So first, I just want to give you guys my checklist. So you can download this. I'll put the link right here. So this is going to go to everyone. Download this free checklist here. It's kind of a synopsis of everything I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you all kinds of information about the coronavirus and the latest updates, what's going on, and how to prepare. But you guys can download this checklist and check it out. It's just what I'm going to say in the webinar, but laid out in a format. I'm going to give you more information than what's in this checklist, but it's just there for you. So today we're going to go over how big can this outbreak be, symptoms of the coronavirus, how to protect yourself from the coronavirus, or how to get prepared, supplements that strengthen your immunity, because that's really the only thing that you can do right now. There's no cure for it. There's no vaccine. You can only strengthen your immunity. How grounding can protect your body from viruses. How EMF is increasing the spread of the virus, of coronavirus. Why you want to stock up on supplies for several months at least. I've been stocking over the last month. And I also want to discuss with you what worries me more than the coronavirus, all the kind of fallout surrounding the coronavirus, and I'll discuss that at the end. So currently in China, there's millions of people that are in quarantine or like on lockdown, government mandated quarantine in their homes, or on self-imposed lockdown due to the coronavirus. So there's 150 million people on mandated quarantine from the government, but there's 760 million people, half the population of China, are on community lockdown where their movements are being restricted. There'll be a little guy outside of each apartment building. He doesn't let you in if you have a temperature or if you've traveled to Wuhan, the epicenter of this outbreak. And so this is unprecedented in human history, unprecedented. And so it gives one pause to think about if this is just a little bit more deadly than the flu, like why all the shutdown of almost an entire country, half of a country as large as China. So let's look at these numbers. Let's discuss what these numbers are right now. And so I'm going to try to share my screen with you guys. Let's see, let me turn my screen share on. Let's see, I want to do a Chrome tab. Here we go. Cool. So if you look here, the coronavirus outbreak here is currently to date, and this is worldometers.info/coronavirus. This is kind of where I go to get up to the minute data on the coronavirus. So right now there's 75,697 cases worldwide. There's 2,125 deaths. Granted, this is since December. The people that have recovered is 16,345. The number of people in serious or critical condition is about 21% of the people infected. That's about 12,000 people that are in serious or critical condition. And this website has a lot of really good information. You can look at different graphs and charts. You can look at the total number of cases by country. So you can kind of look in your country if there are numbers of outbreaks or deaths. Currently, there are only 6 deaths outside of China. Today, this morning, Iran reported 2 deaths there. So I believe that takes the total number to 8 that are outside of the country. And yeah, and so you can see all the different countries that have cases. So Iran like what I said, Iran reported 2 deaths today. So this is the new deaths per day. Hong Kong had another one. Iran had 2. The transmission rate right now is like if one person gets sick, 2 to 3 other people get it. We'll discuss that in a minute. The fatality rate is about 2% roughly. And over 30 countries have been affected or have cases for coronavirus. So, and I'm going to tell you why this is all a bunch of nonsense. That's why I'm doing this webinar. So I'm going to explain to you piece by piece by piece why none of those numbers are correct. None of them. They're not even close. So let's get to it. If we're looking at, and also, I just want to say that this webinar, and there's an article that I wrote on myersdetox.com where you can get like the cliff notes or the written out version with all of the data. I exhaustively have been researching this for weeks. Ever since I heard about it, I would just, piqued my curiosity. I started researching it. I've been watching every video. I've been talking to experts. I've been talking to viral researchers, people that have worked in these VSL 3 and 4 level high security labs that work and do experiments and create vaccines for very, very dangerous viruses. So you guys can get that article on my site at myersdetox.com. It's called Coronavirus, How Worried Should I Be? So just go on there and that'll give you all the research behind what I'm saying tonight. And you can just find all that for yourself. So first, I want to give you a quote from Laurie Garrett. She's a winner of the Pulitzer Prize for her work documenting the Ebola outbreak in Zaire. She says that we see that slowly different parts of the planet are starting to realize, this could come here, and they're starting to talk about readiness. I fear they're too late, that everybody's dragging their feet and getting ready for this, and I think this is really going to explode. This is someone who's an expert on viruses and disease outbreaks. Then the general director of the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, has warned that the new coronavirus could pose a very grave threat to the world and should be viewed as public enemy number 1. The detection of a small number of cases may indicate widespread transmission in other countries. In short, we may only be seeing the tip of the iceberg. And then there's Dr. Lipsitch. He's the professor of epidemiology at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health and head of the school's Center for Communicable Disease Dynamics. In Asia, the death toll right now is, as of February 19th, 2020, the death toll is at 2,123. But outside China, the numbers remain a fraction of that, only 6 to date, only 6 deaths, a trend that Harvard's Mark Lipsitch views with suspicion. He says that there's likely to be a period of widespread transmission in the US, and I hope that we will avert the kind of chaos that some other places are seeing. That's likely if we continue to be prepared, but I think it's going to be a new virus that we have to deal with. That won't be because the United States government has failed to contain it. It will mean that this is an uncontainable virus. If we're dealing with it in the US, it's because everybody is going to be dealing with it. I think that's a likely scenario. This is a disease outbreak researcher, epidemiologist saying this. Just really, really concerns me. So if any of you guys are having some trouble viewing, yeah, Catherine can help you out. So we have anyone that's going to have any concern, she can help you guys if you have any technical issues. You can also email support@myersdetox.com if you have any tech issues. So from everything, all the information I gathered, for healthy people and children, I've been informed by virus researchers that the coronavirus, COVID-19, poses a bit more of a threat than the flu. But I want to explain to you what factors do predispose you to complications and fatality from the coronavirus, and exactly why China is having very high infection and fatality rates. And because of this information, we likely are not going to have the same type of chaos that they're having in China right now. But I also want to discuss that I think that the numbers are not correct, and I'll tell you guys why. So if you're not already thinking about how you can prepare yourself for the coronavirus, now is the time to start, and I'm going to outline exactly why, exactly how to prepare yourself as far as supplements, as far as foods you should be eating, ways to get prepared, what I'm doing to prepare, and what I'm concerned about more than coronavirus. So let's talk about how big could this outbreak be? How big could it be? So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, said Amish Adalji, a senior scholar at the Johns Hopkins University Center for Health Security and a spokesman for the Infectious Diseases Society of America. He said, there's not a doubt this is going to end up in most countries eventually. And the true number of cases is almost certainly far larger than the number that have been officially confirmed by lab tests and thus far reported in the media. There's no way those numbers are anywhere near close to being correct. Biomedical experts using epidemiological models suggest that the infection and fatality numbers are up to 10 times higher than what is being reported in the media due to several factors. So we're going to pick apart each one of these. Agencies in China not receiving and reporting infections and fatalities quickly enough, or delays, data being withheld from the Chinese government, shortage of coronavirus test kits, and it's estimated that about only 10% of the needed coronavirus test kits were actually given to hospitals. They needed far, far more, hundreds, thousands more. Let's see, hospitals turning away patients due to overwhelm, quality or lack of hospital care and lack of ICU beds or intensive care unit beds, people infected and dying in their homes that are not being reported, improper screening at checkpoints and people taking acetaminophen or other drugs to lower their temperatures to get through the checkpoints undetected, and also out of fear because people in China right now are being detained against their will and put in mass quarantine camps if they just have a fever. Forget the test, they're not even testing. If you have a fever, you're going to the mass quarantine camp with everyone else that has coronavirus. And a lot of things cause fever. So there's a lot of fear for people in China right now that just are sick for other reasons. So again, let's see. So Bethany's asking, have you seen the Harvard study that says the best countries are only picking up 40% of the numbers being picked up in Singapore, where they are doing the best epidemiology? No, I haven't seen that, but that'd be great if you could post that, Bethany. That'd be really, really interesting. So I'm going to post a video right now. So this video reveals the likely infection rates in China. Researcher Neil Ferguson of JDEA, an organization that studies disease outbreaks worldwide, says that based on available data, their standardized statistical models, there are likely 50,000 new cases of COVID-19 per day in China happening right now. So I'm going to post the link to this. You guys can watch it later. And so I'll post this so you guys can check that out. And so the key points in this video are that the infections are doubling about every 5 days. The true death rate is still unknown. China infection rates likely to peak in March. So they haven't peaked yet, March in China. We're looking at a 3-month timeline in other countries from the first report of infection to peak outbreak. So here in the United States, the first report of an infection was January 21st. So that means that April 21st is when this will peak in the United States. But you can apply that 3-month timeline to other countries as well. So he says it's going to be very hard to control this epidemic the way that they did with SARS about 15 years ago. And he said that with any outbreak, cases are always underestimated, and the death delays are the death delays are as long as 3 weeks. So once people contract something, it's taking them about 3 weeks before they pass or die from the disease. And he said that the low reported deaths outside China are not reassuring because of these delays, and that we still don't know the full effects of the disease. So out of view of these stated facts, these are the statistics you see on that Worldometer is the 2,123 people that have died so far. Those are Chinese government reported statistics. And so out of view of that is some proportion of mildly infected people with minor symptoms or no symptoms who no one knows are infected. And so I know that this fleet of invisible carriers sounds ominous, but in fact, there's an enormous hidden figure, or this enormous hidden figure would mean many fewer of the infected are actually dying. So and just until a few days ago, the number of reported cases, this 75,000 people right here, the 75,000 people that you see right here, of those people, those for the most part, those are confirmed cases. Like people, the Chinese government was testing people. It took about 3 days to get the results back. And for a while, they were only reporting confirmed cases of the coronavirus. And so only a few days ago are they adding people that they suspect based on x-rays, chest x-rays and symptoms. Are they adding those to this total? Okay. And so that means there's going to be a lot more people that have this, and therefore probably a lower death rate. That's what's being reported in the media. So tens of thousands of people in Yuan, which is the correct pronunciation of Wuhan, it's called Yuan actually, in the Hubei province, has been officially diagnosed. So where the ground zero for the outbreak began. So doctors say there's a shortage of testing kits and other medical supplies, and residents say it's nearly impossible to get the health care they need to be treated, or much less diagnosed, for the coronavirus. The hospitals are completely overwhelmed, and patients are leaving due to long lines there. Okay, so I don't know if you guys seen the pictures on the internet, but they're just, I mean, hospitals that just look like sardines, that they're just packed in the hospital and lines out the door. These people can't get treatment. And the Epoch Times reported that only qualified hospitals receive testing kits. And even those are only receiving 10% of the number of kits that they needed, with some receiving no test kits. There was an insider who worked at one of the organizations licensed to give out the diagnosis kits in China. And they said that by controlling the number of available diagnosis kits, the China's CDC was able to put an upper limit on the confirmed cases every day, and thus avoid paying for treatment of confirmed infected patients. Because a lot of people are being turned away for treatment. If they don't have a confirmed case, they can't get treatment. You know, China's a socialist system, communist system. They only everyone's, you know, healthcare is supposedly paid for, but you have to have a confirmed case before you can go to the hospital and get treatment. And so at most hospitals, you know, as you can imagine, because this is happening at most hospitals, most are going home to fend for themselves with no treatment, no reporting, no statistics for us. And they're also going home to die without having a confirmed cause of death from coronavirus as well. So I think there's a lot of people also that probably died even in as early as November, December, people that died of other causes, people that maybe on the early days got reported as having a flu and then died, and that was just chalked up as death from the flu, not coronavirus. So there's a lot of confounding factors here that make me question the numbers being reported. And so at press conference, the Chinese Communist Party Secretary Ma said that the central government didn't allow the CBC to diagnose the coronavirus until January 16th. And previously, patient samples had to be sent to like the central center in Beijing. And even then, they could only run 300 tests a day from tens of thousands of cases that needed to be tested. And so let's talk about the infection rate. So this study, there's a study that's cited in my article on this, shows that the disease becomes contagious during the incubation period, and people have no idea they're sick and are infecting others. So there's been a lot of speculation about this contagion period, but only about 2% of the infected do not get fevers, roughly. There's a new study that just came out a few days ago that said that it was only about, I think it was 85% of people had a fever and the other 15% didn't. This 2% of the infected that did not have was from a very, very early preliminary study. So all these checkpoints where they're checking for fevers, that's not going to detect a lot of people, thousands of people that have it, that are getting through checkpoints and traveling in China and going through airports, coming to the United States. They're using the infrared temperature sensor, and then those actually fail. They're not 100%. Neither is the coronavirus test kit either. There's been many, many instances of people having negative results, 2 negative results, and then a week later they'll have a positive result. So those aren't foolproof either. Okay. And so in the latest study that had about 1,100 people in it, that they found that people were asymptomatic or no symptoms. Most of them on a bell curve is about 3 days. Okay. So it takes about 3 days from people to get infected to showing symptoms. That latency period or period where people don't have symptoms can be as long as 14 days. And another study showed that could be as long as 24 days where people are infected, asymptomatic, passing it on to other people. That was a very, very small percentage of people. But for most people, it's 3 days from contraction of the virus to symptoms. Still, it's just not very reassuring. So, so let's talk about the actual fatality rate of the coronavirus. How many people are dying of this? So, an analysis of 44,672 coronavirus patients in China whose diagnosis was confirmed by laboratory testing has found that as of February 11th, 1,023 had died. So that's a fatality rate of 2.3%. So figures released on a daily basis suggest the rate has further increased in recent days. And so that's far higher than the mortality rate of the seasonal flu, because the seasonal flu is only, the fatality rates are only 0.1%. Okay. And just to give you a comparison, and I actually think the flu fatality rates are grossly over-reported, falsely over-reported, for various reasons I won't get into. But so it's tough to assess the lethality of a new virus. The worst cases are usually detected first, which can skew our understanding of how likely patients are to die. Like one of the first studies that came out said that there was a 15% fatality rate, but that's not the case when we look at much larger studies. And also people with milder cases may never visit a doctor, so there may be more cases than we know, and so that's going to lower the death rate more than we initially thought. And Oxford University professor Dr. Peter Horby said that even at 2% fatality rate, a 2% case fatality rate is comparable to the Spanish flu epidemic in 1918 that killed millions of people. Okay, so just to give you a comparison about that. But I'm going to show several factors when it comes to, or discuss several factors when it comes to evaluating the fatality rate of coronavirus. So number one, the fatality rate in Yuan, China, versus the rest of the world. We'll talk about the quality and availability of care, the complication rates and how that lends to the fatality rate, the high smoking prevalence in China, which is giving them a higher prevalence of death, the population density in China, and age factors when it comes to dying, because children don't tend to die from this. Children tend to get very mild forms of the disease. It's the older population that has a higher death rate, much higher. So let's talk about the fatality rate in Yuan versus the rest of the world. So this very recent study in the Journal of American Medical Association published February 7th said that the fatality rate of 138 people hospitalized with the coronavirus in Yuan was 4.3%. But obviously people hospitalized are going to be very, very sick. And in Yuan, the epicenter of the outbreak, the fatality rate is 11%, based on a study done on January 30th. Okay. The new analysis was posted online by researchers at the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the China's version of the CDC. And so the fatality rate among patients in the Hubei province, where the center of China's outbreak, was more than 7 times higher than that of other provinces, just to give you that little fact. And so with the larger number of milder cases underreported or unreported, the fatality rate could be much lower if you account for all the persons infected, not just individuals sick enough to go to the hospital, which is what these two studies showed. So because Yuan was the epicenter of the virus and has had a lot more time to incubate or mature, of course they're going to be seeing a higher death rate. So what will happen around the world will unfold in the coming weeks and months. But currently fatality rates in other countries are very low with individuals diagnosed because they're getting really prompt and fast quality medical attention. They're being isolated. They're just getting every imaginable type of treatment and care. And so I believe this will vastly improve incomes and reduce fatality rates as a result of that. However, there has not been enough time to properly compare infection rates to death rates worldwide to establish if in fact the death rate is lower around the world than in Yuan. And so I have a lot of concerns about the spreading of this outbreak to less developed countries that are ill-equipped to handle the high percentage of cases requiring ICU care seen in this novel coronavirus. So for instance, 2 cases or 2 people just died in Iran. There's a case that was confirmed in Africa. There's a suspected case in Djibouti right now. And there's 30 countries around the world that have confirmed cases. So if this hits Africa and South America, I mean, it's just going to devastate them. They just don't have the advanced medical care for, in the majority of the country theirs to handle this. Even in the United States, we only have 100,000 ICU beds. It's not like we have a ton. And so let's talk about the quality and availability of care. So in Yuan, hospitals are totally overwhelmed with so many patients that they're being turned away or receiving minimal care due to lack of supplies and lack of ICU beds. So, there's been reports that people are outside the hospital in their car just getting an IV bag. These are people that are extremely sick that should be on respiratory machines, getting medications, different treatments, to help clear their lungs out. And they're only getting an IV bag. That's all they have right now because supplies are so short. They're so overwhelmed. So consider a story recently published in the New York Times just to help you conceptualize what's happening there. So Mrs. An, who's 67, needed an official diagnosis from a hospital to qualify for treatment. But the one that she and her son raced to had no space. They didn't even have test kits to test her. The next hospital they were referred to in Yuan they had 11 million people in the city. They finally just got an intravenous drip for her fever, but that was all. Since then, Mrs. An had to quarantine herself in home, and her health is declining rapidly, and even keeping water down is a struggle. But she has no recourse. There's nowhere to go for her. And this is happening to thousands and thousands of people in Yuan and in other areas of China where the hospitals are overwhelmed and there just aren't enough healthcare workers and doctors and hospital beds to handle all of this. And that could happen here too. I mean, this is not just other countries. That could happen here. I mean, I'm getting reports from nurses saying the hospitals are overwhelmed just from the regular flu right now, and there's always a struggle to keep supplies in-house. And so add the regular flu season and then the coronavirus on top of that, we're going to have issues with our hospitals being overcrowded as well. Okay, so doctors in China also expressed exaggeration that there was a shortage of test kits, and it's not clear why more were not available. And there's a ban on transportation in a lot of cities, like in Yuan, very large area. There's no cars can drive or go in and out. So some residents have to walk for hours to get to hospitals if they're even well enough to make the journey. And there's long lines outside hospitals for testing and treatment. And that suggests that the outbreak is spreading far beyond the official count of cases. Even ambulances are hard to come by. Residents say, like in recent days, people are reporting they call an ambulance only to be told that there are already hundreds of people in the queue to get that. So there's only so many resources in any country, not just China. So out of fear, people in China are flocking to the hospitals, and this is spreading the disease because there's people that just might have a lung issue going on, or might have asthma, or might just have a cold or flu, and they're going to the hospital to get treatment because they're terrified they might have the virus, and they end up getting it from someone that does. And so that can also happen here. I think just as a general rule of thumb, you want to stay away from crowded areas or places, especially if there's a large group of sick people, you want to stay away from just anywhere where there's large groups of people. So there's a recent study that showed that, let's see, so I already talked about that. So there's another story in the New York Times. The situation that we've seen is much worse than what is being officially reported. Long John, 32, said outside a hospital where his elderly father was being treated. Mr. Long said his father had to go to 6 hospitals and wait 7 days before he could even be tested for the coronavirus. So just the process, what I've been saying so far, based on this, do you think that those numbers on Worldometer are accurate? No. Amy Hugh said her 64-year-old mother went to the doctor after experiencing a fever, cough, shortness of breath, and diarrhea for about 10 days, or about 10 days ago. Based on the initial assessment, the doctor told Miss Hugh's mother that she had contracted the coronavirus, but the test needed to confirm the diagnosis was not available, the doctor said. Without the test, her mother couldn't be admitted to a hospital to receive treatment. So since then, Mrs. Hughes said they've been waiting at home to hear back from the hospital about when her mother can be tested. So because of all the hoops the citizens have to jump through to receive proper treatment, it seems that only when patients are in the advanced stages of their illness can they be admitted to a hospital, but then only if they're diagnosed, and there's just not enough resources to do all this stuff. So several experts have recently conceded that several rounds of testing also may be needed to get accurate diagnosis of the virus. There's reports that some people are testing negative for coronavirus and then positive later, or dying days or weeks later when they haven't had a negative test result come back. So that's also really concerning. There's also actually, there's an article in the New York Times I read that said that the CDC sent out thousands of coronavirus test kits to hospitals around the United States. And there was a hospital in San Diego. They tested some of the people that were in quarantine that had been flown from China and are in quarantine at a military base there. And they tested a few people, and the test results came back inconclusive, meaning the test kits didn't work. And that's here in the US. So that's concerning. Also, let's talk about how complication rates are increasing fatalities. So this is the percentage of people that actually get the virus that have to go into intensive care. So with the flu, it's less than 1% of people that have to go into the ICU. With the coronavirus, the complication rate is 5%, and that requires intensive care. But the issue is that all the ICUs in China are taken. Very few are getting the intensive care they need. And also in the United States, another big issue, only 100,000 ICU beds are available. And so then there's the high smoking rates in China. So another factor to consider is that smoking makes an individual far more susceptible to fatality. And why is that? That's because the coronavirus attacks the lungs. It attacks an enzyme in the lungs. And so people get severe acute respiratory syndrome. Some may even need assistance breathing, like an artificial respirator, and they just need help with breathing. And so this could explain the high death rate in China that may not be seen in other countries with a lower prevalence of smoking. So this virus targets the ACE2. It's the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 that makes proteins in the alveoli of the lungs, or the little sacs in the lungs that expand and contract when you breathe in and then exhale. And so people that are dying from the coronavirus are actually dying from acute respiratory distress. They can't breathe. Their lungs fill up with fluid. And so what's remarkable is that in China, 48%, and some studies stay as high as 66% of Chinese men smoke. I was just shocked when I read that, but that is the case in a lot of countries, that there's a high smoking rate. And so smoking increases ACE2. And so the higher the ACE2, whether from smoking or genetically expressing, the more susceptible somebody will be to dying of coronavirus. Then there's the air pollution. As far as China goes, the pollution is terrible. The air quality in many cities is abysmal. In Yuan, they've even had riots, unprecedented riots in the streets to improve air quality there. In China alone, there's an estimated 1.1 million deaths just from air pollution. So even if you're not a smoker yourself, just breathing in the air is akin to having a smoking habit. And we know that exposure to air pollution long-term for decades will diminish lung capacity, immunity, overall health, and just by itself cause disease. And there was a study in JAMA that concluded that exposure to air pollution is equivalent of smoking a pack a day of cigarettes. So I believe that this high prevalence of smoking and air pollution in China is one big factor playing a large role in the high death rates that we're seeing from coronavirus in China. And so that's not going to translate to other countries. And so let's talk about how population density in Yuan and China is increasing fatalities. So Yuan and other major cities in China are extremely densely populated. Entire extended families live together in small spaces. They eat together in like these little hot pots. Well, there'll be a number of family members and friends and neighbors even eating in these hot pots together. That is being reported as being, a few cases have been reported from that. And so these conditions and crowding make conditions ripe to spread the disease far more easy. And also that's also been confirmed from the researchers from the University of Geneva. There's been in crowded conditions increased the likelihood of transmitting infectious disease as well. And then also Yuan is one of China's most important railway hubs, with multiple stations connected to numerous rail lines, high-speed rail lines that connect Shanghai and Guangzhou, cities with populations of 24 million and 13 million people respectively. So it's like a big hub, kind of like Chicago is here in the US. And then let's look at the age. Let's look at the age here. So another factor that can play a role is age. So those over 60 years of age or have pre-existing health conditions like infections, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure are statistically more likely to succumb to the coronavirus. And in one study, the median age of patients, people that contract the coronavirus, is between 49 to 56 years of age. And it also said that cases in children have been rare. And the reason is because that younger people may be getting infected, but they're having a relatively milder form of the disease, says Dr. Malik Paris, who's chief of virology at the University of Hong Kong. And he developed a diagnostic test for the new coronavirus himself. And so he talks about how the body's innate immunity, which is critical for fighting viruses, deteriorates with age, particularly after middle age. And so Dr. Raina McIntyre, an epidemiologist at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia, has been studying the spread of the coronavirus. And he said that something happens at about age 50. Immunity declines, and it declines exponentially, which is why for most infections, we see the highest incidence in the elderly, not just the coronavirus, but just all infections overall. So let's talk about the symptoms of the coronavirus. So let's see. So some people are saying they're having a hard time hearing and seeing. I hope you guys are able to see me. So the CDC believes at this time that symptoms, I'm sorry. So there's a new study published February 9th, 2020 with 1,099 patients from 552 hospitals in 31 Chinese provinces, showing about a 5% ICU admission rate and a 1.36% death rate. So this is all over China. And so symptoms of the coronavirus are 87.9% had fever in this study. 81% had a reduced white blood cell count, which is common in infections. 67% had cough. 38% had fatigue. And let me just share my screen here so you guys can see this. Let's see, application window. So you guys can see this. So 67% had cough, 38% had fatigue, 33% had phlegm or sputum production, 18% had shortness of breath, 15% had severe pneumonia, 13% had headache, 3.6% diarrhea, 5% vomiting, and 25% had an underlying health condition. Okay, so that was a study of 1,099 patients from 31 different Chinese provinces. So that gives us a little bit more of information that's generalizable to the rest of the population. We're not just getting these high rates of death and fatality from like this study that was done in Yuan. So there was this study published February 7th of only 138 patients, and these were all in Yuan. And 26% required admission to the ICU, and 4.3% died. So it's much higher because this is the epicenter of the outbreak. So so I won't go over this because I want to look at information that's more relevant to the world and the population, to you. So one cause of concern was that some patients who at first appeared mildly or moderately ill then took a turn for the worse several days or even a week into their illness. And about 10% of the patients in this study did not initially have the typical symptoms like cough and fever, but they instead had diarrhea and nausea first. And so other uncommon symptoms included headache, dizziness, and abdominal pain. And so because of this, they went into the hospital. They got sent to the wrong department. People were not suspected of having coronavirus, and this prevented them from being screened for coronavirus. And it also prevented hospital staff from taking proper protective measures for themselves and other patients. So that's a big concern. Because I just want you to be aware of these symptoms. I'm talking about these symptoms because I want you to be aware if you start coming down with symptoms, or your friend does, or a neighbor does, or whatever, that you're aware that these symptoms are atypical. There's a small percentage of the population that presents with what seems like a stomach bug or whatnot. And these people may not be screened properly at hospitals. So the hospitals are not, I mean, to me, I would not go anywhere near a hospital. I really wouldn't. I mean, some people may not have any choice, but I'm just going to do everything I can to stay away from one. So, the one thing that they noted in one of these studies was the median time from the first symptom to having really labored breathing was 5 days. That was the average time. From symptoms to hospital admission was 7 days, and to acute respiratory distress was 8 days. And the median hospital stay was 10 days per patient. So what experts say this pattern means is that patients need to be really carefully monitored. It is not safe to assume that someone who seems to be doing well early on is going to fare well or as well as the illness progresses. Okay. So now let's get to how to prepare for the coronavirus. So I wanted to give you guys, I just wanted to lay this out the reality of what's, what the latest study says, what the latest numbers, what the latest news is in the media, because it's very sobering to me and it's very concerning to me. And I'm not concerned about the coronavirus. Really, I'm not concerned about getting it. I'm not concerned about my child getting it. I do have concerns about people with health issues, with immune system issues, with lung issues, smokers. I am concerned for those individuals. But I think if you're relatively healthy, if you're young, you really don't have anything to worry. This is not something that's it's not any worse than the flu or getting the flu, though it's just more contagious. It's a lot more contagious than the flu, and more people do die from it. And because more people are going to get it, more people will die from it. But again, it's kind of like the flu: the very, very young, the very, very old, and people with a lot of health issues or serious health issues can also be compromised from the flu as well. So let's talk about how to prepare. So number one, preparedness boils down to taking antivirals and immune modulating supplements. I'll tell you what I'm taking. Alkalizing your body and eating the right foods, foods that also shore up your cell membranes and make your cell membranes really, really strong. And so just someone commented, is all this info on the report you can download? No, it's not. But if one of the moderators could just post my article, it's an article on myersdetox.com, an article, just search for coronavirus. It's an article called Coronavirus, How Worried Should We Be? All of the studies, I mean, just exhaustive studies, links to other articles, links to videos, everything is in that article. So you can get all this written out, what I'm saying in the article. So antivirals, alkalizing the body, protecting your EMF, grounding your body with negative ions. You need to get a negative charge on your body. I'll tell you how to do that, because your body doesn't work right, including your immune system, if you don't have a negative charge on it. So we'll discuss that more in a second. Protocols to follow to minimize exposure, what to do when you leave your house, things like that, and how to be prepared in the event that there is a public panic, a run on food or supplies, or there's industry shutdown, as we are seeing in China. So I'll talk about what I'm doing to prepare. Better safe than sorry. That's my model. I'm a planner. I always get prepared. I don't know if you've seen my website. I'm very organized. For me, I just want to make sure, and I'm not living in fear, and I'm not trying to instill fear in you. I should have addressed this in the beginning. I'm just here to give you a reality check. I'm here to give you information. I'm here to educate you, separate the facts from the fear mongering, and just a lot of news outlets, very credible ones, that are doing terrible reporting on this. And I just want to make people aware that, the numbers coming out from China, and even I think the World Health Organization, are hiding information from us. I think they're well aware of what's going on in China, and we are not being given the full picture. So just over the course of the weeks that I've researched this, I wanted to go over a lot of the different confounding factors or variables that show that there's no way that the numbers are correct that are being reported, like what you see here on coronavirus update, the world in meters right here. So it's estimated that coronavirus cases are probably 10 times this number. It's probably closer to 750,000 of coronavirus cases, and probably over 20,000 or 21,000 deaths is the most likely scenario. And I just went over why I felt that was the case. I also discussed how disease experts that do epidemiological modeling around the world also are saying similar things, or I'm just parroting what they're saying. So let's go over again. Let's go over the antivirals. So when it comes to an RNA virus like the coronavirus, there's many recommendations to bolster your immune system. So I have my checklist. You guys can see it here on the comments. There's a lot of different places where you can see my checklist. You can download that for free. This lists most of the items I'm going to talk about today. I just have been doing more and more research since I created that checklist. So there's a few more things I want to talk about here. But the goal of the checklist is not to give you a cure for the coronavirus. Nothing can do that. There is no cure. There is no vaccine. There's no vaccine in sight. We don't have medications for it. But what you can do is reduce your risk. The risk of contracting the coronavirus and the risk of fatality if it is contracted. So that can only be done by strengthening your immune system and taking other sensible precautions. So number one, sleep. Sleep. There is no better antiviral on the planet than sleep. There's studies that show this. Your body creates these little antigens. They look like little, I don't know, these little Ys in your body. And these antigens will grab onto viruses and mark them for destruction. And so when you don't have enough sleep, your body doesn't produce enough antigens. And so your immune system is really, really compared. But if you get plenty of sleep, if you get your 8 hours a night, then you'll have very, very healthy levels of antigens to fight viruses or any kind of infections. And so you need to get at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Right now is a time to prioritize sleep. You have to. You've got to say no to other stuff. You've got to prioritize your health because you have to sleep to have proper immunity, proper liver function, etc. And we do have evidence that viruses in general are overcome with these supplements I'm about to lay out to you guys. So I'll just give you guys this list again. Oh, one of the moderators, can you post the checklist again? Again, you can get this checklist on the sidebar of comments. So number one, colloidal silver. So this is a great silver to take. It's called sovereign silver. And so this is something that I'm taking about a half a teaspoon a day. This is kind of one of the cheaper, most available ones out there. Are there better brands? Yes, certainly. But this is a great brand. I bought a couple, pretty much like a gallon of this stuff. You want to take a half a teaspoon a day internally. And silver has been shown to destroy the SARS coronavirus, which is that was about 15 years ago. That was another form of coronavirus, the SARS, and then MRSA was another one. So silver has shown to kill those viruses. And I also recommend nebulizing this. So a nebulizer is like a little handheld face mask where you can put about a teaspoon of this in the water and then breathe it in. So if you're going out to grocery shop or to the mall or wherever you're going, or you rode on a plane with somebody that was sick, you can inhale this silver into your sinuses and lungs and kill any pathogens that you encountered. So that is one of the number one recommendations that I recommend people do. You can get these handheld nebulizers on Amazon. I have a Philips one, Philips Respironics, but I had to go to my drugstore and ask them to order it for me for some reason. There's not a lot of nebulizers on Amazon, but there's a few handheld ones where you just breathe in this cold steam that it has the silver in it. So, and nebulizing is simply taking water and adding a product to it or a supplement and then breathing in that cold steam into your lungs and sinuses. And so that's what that means essentially. And I also like this Panasilver by Activation Products. This is a nice one also that you can get as well. And there's plenty of brands out there. There's also the ACS 200 Results RNA. That's a fine one also. Also, my daily detox supplement here. This contains fermented broccoli sprouts. And there's a ton of research that shows that when it comes to viruses, broccoli sprouts contain potent antiviral activity components and can reduce not only the viral load, but viral induced inflammation as well. So you can take about 1 to 2 scoops of that, or just eat broccoli sprouts, grow them and eat them. I grow them. And other types of sprouts are great also. But this has fermented broccoli sprouts and tons of liver support herbs, which when when you have a virus, your liver is dealing with a lot of debris and stuff your immune system is killing. And so you need liver support also. This next product is called Solaris. This is plant esters and modified essential oils. This stuff is amazing. Amazing. And so these plant esters help to support the immune system by clearing the terrain. So I'm doing this right now. What I'm doing is I'm thinking about supporting my immune system, really fortifying it, but also clearing the terrain, getting rid of any infections that I may currently have that are occupying my immune system bandwidth. So that I'm thinking about that also. And so I have used this product with personally to lower infections in my clients, including viruses, bacteria, fungus, candida, parasite. This stuff is unbelievable. So I take about 10 drops in water, and you can take it up to about 4 times a day. And so I'll give you the link to that if you guys want to check this out. So it's Solaris. This is in this stuff is in the Corona preparedness checklist. So everything, most of what I'm mentioning here is in the checklist, and you can just click on the link and go find it. The next thing I want to talk about is zinc. Obviously, so zinc has a negative charge on it, which is great. So it helps give your body the negative charge, but it inhibits viral replication also. And really important in supporting immune system function. So you want to take, I'm taking this one. It's by Metagenics. It's zinc AG. Lots of great zincs on the market. I also rotate megaquinone, which has zinc in it as well. But any zinc's fine. Doesn't matter. In the protection checklist, I have a zinc glycinate by Protocol for Life. I have a liquid zinc gluconate, which is great. You want to take about 20 to 50 milligrams a day, no more than that. If you take any more, it retracts your zinc receptors and you don't get any. So you don't want to take more than 50 milligrams a day. Next is CBD. I cannot express to you enough the importance of taking CBD. This is so important because cannabinoids in CBD modulate immune system macrophages that clear out pathogens and toxins. But you have to be really careful because there's a lot of really bad, toxic, and even totally bogus CBD products that don't have any CBD at all. And I recommend taking an organic, full spectrum CBD. That's what I'm taking. So I take this Green Compass. It's a CBD hemp extract. It's full spectrum. So it's got CBD, CBG, a little tiny bit of THC, not much. You're not getting high from this. The THC is what makes you high. You don't feel anything really from this except more brain focus. This also has terpenes in it. Just a lot of really good stuff. It's like a whole food, like a soy protein isolate versus like eating a steak. Very, very different protein and nutrient profiles between those two items. So CBD just by itself has its place, but the full spectrum really shines. And you don't want to take capsules. This has to be like a tincture underneath the tongue. So I'll take it right now. And you just hold it underneath your tongue. It's got to soak in sublingually to really work. And so I like this one because they test it for over 130 different contaminants like pesticides, heavy metals, glyphosate. It's exhaustively tested. And so I really, really like this brand specifically. So I'll send you guys a link to this specific product. So this is the CBD that I like. And so I'll give you guys the link to that. I take the 1,000 milligrams. I just gave you guys the link to the 500 milligrams, but I personally like the 1,000 milligrams. And it's also great for pain, but more so for immunity. I had a talk with Dr. Judy Mikovits, who's an expert virologist. She worked with the Ebola virus, which is also an RNA virus like coronavirus. She worked at the National Institutes of Health for 22 years. And she says CBD is one of the best things to take for your immune system, to really fortify your immune system. You have cannabinoid receptors in every single cell in your body. You need this to have really strong immunity. But it has lots of other benefits too. So that's that there. And so I just take about a dropper full underneath my mouth in the morning, and then I do another one at night as well. So the next thing here is trace minerals. So trace minerals are needed for cell signaling. So this needs to be strong so that your immune system can communicate effectively. And so you also need mineral levels to be high to raise your alkalinity as well. And so what I personally take is this healthy salt, this stuff right here. This is about 25% minerals concentration, where like a sea salt is 1%, Himalayan salt's 0.8% minerals. So I put a pinch of this in every glass of water that I drink, every juice that I drink. I don't salt my food with it. It's more like you certainly can, but it's a therapeutic salt. It's not, it's low, so it's not really like a salt where like, yummy, salting your food to enhance the flavor. It's low sodium, but it's high magnesium and high in a lot of other minerals. And so I also love Quinton liquid, or like the little ampoules to replace minerals. Those are great. But those are really the only two that I'm really, really excited about that I think are compatible for most people, are the most comprehensive, the most concentrated. This will last you about 6 months. So it costs like $75, I think, but it lasts a long time. So don't let the price kind of put you off. It's super concentrated. Selenium. So selenium is really important to prevent viral replication. So my Ageless AF supplement, this one, contains about 100 micrograms per capsule of selenium, but it's the best form of selenium on the market. It's called S-E-methylselenocysteine. And it also has garlic in it, which is a really powerful antiviral as well. You want to take about 200 micrograms per day, or about two capsules of this. Because I've given selenium to clients for years. So I was giving clients like a pea protein-based selenium. I was giving them selenium methionine. I mean, some clients would take that for 2 years and their selenium would never go up. And this, I also noticed this with me too. I took this kind of a lesser form of selenium for, I think, about 4 years, and my selenium never went up. And so you have to be really, really careful about the form of any mineral or nutrient you take, because you can be wasting your money. So I put the best form in my products, stuff that I would take. So also vitamin C. This is probably number 2, one of the second most important nutrients to take. So what I'm doing is I'm rotating a bunch of different types of Cs, because C stimulates both the production and function of white blood cells. So you've got to get this army. You need that vitamin C to kind of command this army for your immune system. And so I want you to take as much as you can to bowel tolerance. And so when you get diarrhea, then you're good. You're saturated, but you need to take quite a bit of it. So once you get diarrhea, take less of the vitamin C. And I know there's some people that are listening that are Morley Robbins fans. I get it, but that's all fine and good. Right now, we need to support our immune system, and vitamin C is proven over and over and over to help with viruses. IV vitamin C is being used as a treatment overseas to fight the coronavirus and to help people that have it. So I'm sorry, that's out the window at the moment. We need vitamin C right now. It's about priorities. And so I rotate vitamin C. So what I'm taking right now is Dr. Mercola's liposomal vitamin C. I like it because it's in a capsule. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. You can travel with it. It's very high potency. So each capsule is about 500 milligrams. And I love food-based, but you can't get enough food-based vitamin C in you to make enough of a difference, especially if you're trying to really fight something and you're really concerned, with the coronavirus. You need to get a lot of vitamin C in you in a very short period of time. You can't do that with food-based vitamin C. But I like food-based vitamin C because there's cofactors and other things in it that you need to absorb the vitamin C. So I just do a number of different things. I'm not just doing one thing for vitamin C. So I take this, love, love, love. You can also, I love Dr. Mercola too. You can also just do a liquid liposomal C. There's some things in my store, like a Quicksilver Scientific has a great liquid vitamin C. So you can just do shots of that. You can also do this amalaki powder. So this is Banyan Organics amalaki powder. I have this in my store also. I take this, I put it in smoothies. This is the food in nature that has the highest amount of vitamin C. So it's called the amla berry or amalaki powder in Ayurvedic medicine. So that's fantastic. I also have dried rosebuds. And I bought a pound of Star West dried rosebuds to make tea, because that's also one of the most alkaline sources of vitamin C found in nature. And so that's really key as well. You can also do IV vitamin C. I'm going to be doing an IV vitamin C tomorrow. I'm going to do a few of those just because that clears out infections in your body. I just had a cavitation removed at Thanksgiving, and the doctor said I had some stuff going on. So I've been doing kind of regular vitamin C's to kind of clear my terrain, to get rid of any infections that I may currently be dealing with. You can also get IV vitamin C if you become sick. That's one of the best ways to get better fast. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is crucial to activating immune defenses for your T cells. And so I prefer people get vitamin D from food sources as opposed to supplements. So I like cod liver oil. So I love this Nordic Naturals cod liver oil. This is what I'm taking right there. And you can also do like a liquid one. This is Nordic Naturals. This is Arctic cod liver oil. So it's very, very pure. There's no, heavy metals in this. Like there's a lot of cod liver oils or other fish oils I wouldn't touch those with a 10-foot pole. But so this is what I recommend. You can also eat liver supplements, like desiccated liver supplements. Mushrooms. Just eat fish, fatty fish. I ordered a ton of food from Vital Choice Seafood. Was amazing for getting vitamin D. Also going out in the sun, also very helpful. I don't like synthetic vitamin D supplements because they don't mimic or behave in the same way in the body as vitamin D derived from sunshine or foods behave. And so, but if you do have vitamin D, you're worried, you want to take it, get about 10,000 IU a day. And let's see, also the wild caught fish are great sources of quality fats to make strong cellular membranes. Okay. Viruses can more easily get into an unhealthy cell with poor membrane integrity. Okay. So you got to do everything you can to kind of shore up these cell membranes. And that involves eating animal protein. Okay. So anyone who's, vegan, I'm sorry, but you very well, depending on how long you've been eating that diet, you may not have enough fats or cholesterol to shore up the cell membranes, because they're all fats. They're made of lipids. And so after a certain period of time, being a vegan, you're going to be depleted in those fats, and also your immune system, your liver is not working. You're at a disadvantage at this point right now. And so vitamin A, another fat soluble vitamin. So it's also found in beta carotene as well, but you get it in a lot of animal foods in the most readily available form. Vitamin A has antiviral abilities and will support the immune system when it's under viral attack. So it protects your upper respiratory mucous membranes and lining. So you want food-based vitamin A. You don't want it in supplements because most of them are made from GMO black molded corn. Yeah, it's true. So I like beef liver supplements, eating beef liver. You want about 25,000 IU a day, but get all the food sources you can. Carrot juice is great, but a lot of people can't convert the beta carotene to vitamin A genetically. Also, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, you're going to have a much less reduced ability to be able to do that conversion of beta carotene to vitamin A. So have to consider that as well. So iodine. I love iodine. So iodine is necessary for proper immune system functioning. Okay. I know there's a lot of stuff out there about how you have Hashimoto's, don't do iodine, but you do need iodine for proper immune system functioning. So right now to prepare, I am taking 25 milligrams of iodine. If I get sick, I'm going to take 50 to 100 milligrams a day at the first sign of any type of illness. Okay. And so, but one warning, iodine can cause adverse effects. There's some people just not going to work for them. So if you've taken it in the past and had reactions, this does not apply to you. So you're going to want to begin with, if you haven't taken iodine in a long time, you're going to want to begin with just a tiny little bit. So this is a 12 milligram capsule, 12.5 milligrams. Just take a little nibble, a tiny little bit, and see how you do. Do that for a week, then increase it a little bit more. Do 2 nibbles or like maybe 5 milligrams. Increase again until you kind of acclimate. Because when you first start taking this, people can get rapid heartbeat, anxiety, trouble sleeping, because you just have to start really slow and let your body acclimate, habituate, and then keep increasing it, titrating it up. But this is really important. And then something called monolaurin. This is an antiviral that breaks up biofilms where infections can hide from the immune system. So I like the lauricidin brand. I have that in my store, also in the checklist as well. Probiotics. So you want to eat probiotic-rich fermented foods like raw sauerkraut, kimchi, other fermented products that have not been pasteurized. And I also like Megaspore probiotics. Those are also great. Those can bolster your gut, where most of your immune system resides. So you got to have healthy gut to have healthy immunity. So probiotics are great. Also, cistus and canis tea. So this is something I'm drinking. This herb prevents viruses from entering into cells. So I'm drinking the tea. You can also get the tincture. This is in the checklist. Links to this is in the checklist. And so this is a cool little tea there. I'm also taking Manuka honey. And so you don't have to take all this stuff. It's just I'm rotating this stuff and taking a lot of this most days. But, this is a lot of things I'm throwing at you, but just, you have to prioritize some of these things. So I love Manuka honey. This is Manuka Health 550 MGO. This is the strongest antiviral, antimicrobial honey on the planet. There's maybe a few other rivals, but this is organic, raw, unfiltered honey, and it's negatively ion charged. It helps to ground your body. And Manuka honey is proven to kill in 6 different ways. It has 6 different ways that it does that. So nothing can become immune to it or mutate around it or become, nothing can kind of get past it. So this is amazing. It also kills all the bacteria in your throat, and it's cough suppressant. It works in studies better than cough syrup to suppress cough. So I take this quite a bit. And then the last thing I'll talk about is black cumin seed oil. This is a fresh pressed black cumin seed oil, no chemical extraction, no hexane residues in this. This is unbelievable. There's, I think about 900 studies that show the different health benefits of this. It's very strong. It's very potent. It kills tons of bacteria, different types of infections, helps to balance your gut flora. This stuff is unbelievable. I take it every single day. Love it. So this is also in my store if you want it. So this is essentially what I recommend to people. This is what I'm doing. Curcumin, lysine, also amazing. And I'm going to give you guys a link. If you want to get any of this stuff, you can get it in my store. And there's a coupon code here, winter15, to get 15% off. So I want to help you guys get this stuff, but get a discount also. And so my colleague, Dr. Klinghardt, also had a really interesting product that he recommended. He said you can keep your face protected with HOCl spray from Kai Science. So that's one of Dr. Klinghardt's websites. And so I'll post this product here as well. This is supposed to be amazing. You can also administer this stuff rectally as well. So I'll give you guys that. You can do add this HOCl to rectal ozone and administer it that way as well. And this is really effective against viruses. You can also do rectal ozone, like I mentioned. Essential oils have antiviral properties. You can do boswellia, frankincense, copaiba. And so I'll list those essential oils here as well. And the copaiba can stop these cytokine storms that people have. I just, let's see. I just posted that link to everyone. I don't see it though. Where did it go? Here it is. So boswellia, frankincense, and copaiba are also great for that. And so those are all on the checklist also. And then I want to talk about alkalizing your body. So viruses thrive in acidic environments. So you want to keep your body as alkaline as possible to protect against viral infections. And so first you have to start with minerals. You have to have very high levels of minerals in your body. And so eat foods that are high in minerals, celery, drink juices that are high in minerals that really concentrate the minerals in the plant. I like the healthy salt, which I already talked about. I've never found a better mineral supplement, so that I like that as well. So kind of hard to see there. So that's the healthy salt. That's what I take. And like I mentioned, minerals are needed for cell signaling. So it's needed for the immune system to be able to communicate. You can also drink water with baking soda. It's not something I want you to do every day because it can reduce stomach acid production, but it's a great inexpensive way to increase alkalinity quickly and cheaply. And be sure to only use aluminum-free baking soda. So that's important. And in addition, you want to reduce your intake of highly acidic foods like sugar and refined carbs to help balance your body's pH. And so I'm going to talk about a list of immune boosting, alkalizing foods that also fortify membranes to reduce viral penetration into your cells. And so so one thing that, so this is all on the checklist. And so again, I reiterate, animal proteins, organic pastured eggs, organic pastured animal proteins, and fats. You need these fats for strong cellular membranes. RNA viruses like coronavirus can more easily get into unhealthy cells with poor membrane integrity. So I eat omega-3 fats from fish, from wild fish. Let's see. So I love Vital Choice seafood. I ordered $1,000 worth of canned seafood from Vital Choice. It's non-perishable. It lasts a really long time. I ordered soups. I ordered like smoked fish. I ordered canned salmon, canned tuna, canned sardines. And they use like really small tuna, so it's incredibly low mercury, if any mercury at all. Just the highest quality seafood out there. It's amazing. You want to eat lower or no refined carbohydrates because these are generally really acidifying. You want to eat lots of greens. Lettuces, spinach, collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, any kind of greens, Swiss chard, baby greens, mini greens, whatever, what have you, sprouts. These things will help to alkalize your body. You want to eat probiotic fermented foods. I'm eating those every day right now. You want to eat mushrooms to improve immunity. Shiitake, reishi, maitake, chaga, cordyceps, turkey tail are great immune boosters. Mushrooms contain beta glucans needed for a good immunity. So you can eat these. I incorporate them in my diet. You can also just get them in capsule forms. I have some powders of like cordyceps and chaga that I put in smoothies, but I eat a lot of shiitake, reishi, and maitake mushrooms. I get those at my grocery store, and I get dried ones also, and I'll reconstitute them and eat them. And that's also a great thing to get. I bought a ton of dried mushrooms at the store to put in pastas, or put in like pasta sauces with like quinoa pasta and whatnot. Put in stir fries for in case I want to go on like self-imposed lockdown. I have lots and lots of mushrooms and lots and lots of food. I'll tell you guys what I'm getting in a minute, what I'm stocking up on. Also, you want to eat raw, unfiltered honey because it's negatively ion charged. Like I said, I like this Manuka honey, but this is like a medicinal honey. You can certainly take it every day, but I also am eating bee pollen. I love the Bee Naturally bee pollen. I'm kind of doing a little teaspoon of that every morning also. Lots of, antiviral and immune boosting properties in it, B vitamins and things like that. You want to avoid wheat and corn due to pesticide residues, mold, fungus, and their inherent decrease in immune function. The characteristics in wheat and corn impair mineral absorption that will prove problematic when trying to protect from this virus. So corn and wheat those are out. You want to avoid alcohol, which suppresses immune system function. You want to avoid sugar, which suppresses immune system function for 6 hours after ingestion. Not a good idea right now. I also want to talk about how EMFs reduce immunity. So EMFs are everywhere in our environment. They're Wi-Fi, computers, cell phones, microwaves. All of our electronics emit frequencies into the environment that affect our own body's electromagnetic field. This is, we communicate in this energy field, our body does. And viruses are negatively charged. EMFs from electronics emit a positive charge. So this positive charge creates this perfect storm for a negatively charged virus to replicate, you see. And so therefore, it's not a stretch to hypothesize that part of the reason the coronavirus is spreading so rapidly in Yuan right now is due to EMF exposure like 5G. And there's lots of studies that show that EMF compromises the immune system. There's many, many studies that show this. So this is all in my article. If you guys want to get the research, that is in my article, The Coronavirus, How Worried Should We Be? And so, so there's several ways you can reduce your exposure to EMF. Turn off your Wi-Fi at night, put EMF protection stickers on your electronics, sleep in a Faraday cage. I use this Harmony pendant here. This is what I'm using. It's not 100% protection, but it protects up to 88%. And it goes with you everywhere that you go. I'll take it. It's worn directly on your body, so it helps to protect you. And it balances your body's own electromagnetic field. So you're not left trying to dodge different sources of EMF all day or worry about it if you go to the office. So it really helps you to make you less susceptible to the harmful, damaging effects of EMF. So that's one thing I'm doing. I think it's kind of coincidental that there's 10,000 5G towers installed in Yuan. And I think that's a factor contributing to the spread of that. And also, if you guys want to take measures to further reduce your EMF exposures, I have a free EMF guide also that you guys can download. I'll give it to you right here, so you guys can get that. So I have lots of free stuff for you guys here. So let me just copy and paste that. So you have that right now. That's my free EMF guide, EMF protection guide. And so the next thing I want to talk about is, let's see, is a grounding. So like by saying that, I mean creating a negative charge in the body that improves immunity. So you must correct the charge on your body to protect from viruses. It's called grounding. And so we have to be negatively charged for all of our systems in the body to work correctly and to create an environment that will put up a resistance to viruses. So it's also, you want to increase your exposure to negative ions. So I have a couple ways that I do that. So one of the most effective ways to introduce negative ions into your body is through this supercharged polarized water. It's called Wata. And it's not your typical water. It basically works by imparting a negative ion charge on your body due to its high levels of electrons. And I'm not drinking that for the water. There's a gas that's infused into this. It's the 5th phase of water infused into purified water. And so I'm after that gas. And so what this does, it imparts this antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. And this is, for me, a really crucial defense against coronavirus for me. And also what it does is it floods your body with oxygen. It floods your body with hydrogen. Oxygen kills pathogens. And I mean, this, and also when you first start taking this, drinking it, I felt euphoric for about 4 days. It was, I mean, joy, pure joy, tons of energy. I felt amazing. I still feel amazing after starting this water. This completely changed my life. I don't say that, very often, but this is a key thing for me. It's ultra hydrating. And there's a lot of research. This has been out about almost 15 years. A lot of medical doctors use this to treat diabetic patients that have wounds that won't heal, and just amazing stories. They have hundreds of testimonials on their website. So you can get this water, this Wata water, on aquanew.com. And if you use the code Energy Water, they give you like $3 to $5 off a case. So I ordered 20 cases of this. So that's one of the things I did to prepare was I ordered a lot of cases of this, because this is number one. You have to be grounded to protect from viruses. You have to be. So I use my pendant. I use this. I also have this Breathe Safe. It's a little air filter that emits negative ions also. So I just have this kind of running all day long in my office. This is in my store too. I just love this little thing. She also has these little things called the ion refreshers. They're little plug-in air filters. You can buy a 12-pack and you can put them in like a little outlet in every room in your home, and it's constantly emitting negative ions. That's an option also. You can buy a 6 or 12-pack. Those are amazing. Those are in my store too. It's store.myersdetox.com if you want to check those out. But these are my little tools that I use. So I want to talk about why I stocked up on supplies for 6 months and why I think that you should also. So one thing that really saddens me is seeing the residents in China that are under mandatory quarantine and are not allowed to leave their homes, or typically there's only one person is allowed to leave their home like every few days. And most of them did not have any notice. They weren't prepared. They didn't have enough food or water for even a few weeks. And so meanwhile, in the general public in America, Europe, Russia, and Australia, a lot of these people have no idea whatsoever that they could face 6 to 8 weeks or longer of self-imposed or mandated home quarantines as the virus spreads in these countries. and or that these people might need months of food and water supplies in the event of a severe outbreak where they don't want to leave their home, you know. And so even though this virus doesn't really pose that much of a threat in westernized countries, with readily available medical care, there's still a lot of fear surrounding the coronavirus. So I'm stocking up on supplies. I'm stocking up on non-perishable food, seeds for sprouting so that I can eat fresh sprouts and lettuces. I'm planting a garden this week, so I can have like mustard greens and just other kinds of lettuces and things that grow really easily. I've got onions growing, carrots, broccoli, and other things that I'm growing. And these seed that I got a sprouter. It's called a you can get sprouters on Amazon fairly cheaply. And I have like tons and tons and tons of seeds, all kinds of seeds where I can grow basil and little baby lettuces, baby radishes. And so I can just eat just the sprouts, so I can have something fresh. I'm also stocked up on lots of immune boosting supplements. Water, like the water would be good. Toilet paper and other household and cleaning supplies. Viral protection gear, which we'll talk about the pros and cons of that in a second. I bought a generator just in case the electricity stops. Also, 6 months of medications would be a really good idea now, because 80% of medications are made in China, or the ingredients to our medications. And so I'm really fearful that a shortage of medication soon could happen because the supply chain has been shut down from China and shipments have completely stopped to the US. And so I have a lot of concern that because of China's shutdown, even though we might not right now in the US have an outbreak, then hospitals could soon be running out of medications and some supplies because China is not supplying them anymore, or they're being rerouted to that country which needs it more, nor needs the medications and supplies more. So, you know, think about that and stock up on medications. And some of the foods that I'm stocking up on, I told you about the Vital Choice seafood. I got lots and lots of like jarred pasta sauce, stuff that I wouldn't normally eat, but I'm gonna want this stuff if I can't go to the grocery store. I'm just stocking up. So I got lots of canned and pickled vegetables, canned fruits as well. I also bought lots of different types of pasta. I bought, not gluten-free pasta. I got tons and tons of beans, tons and tons of rice. I bought lots and lots of different spices. I bought lots and lots of different honeys for sweetener. I stocked up on coffee. I stocked up on, like, there's a lot of different types of like prepackaged meals, like Indian meals and Thai meals that have like a 1 or 2 year shelf life. I got lots of like frozen things. I bought another freezer, a second freezer. I put tons of animal proteins, frozen vegetables, frozen banana, frozen fruit, frozen potatoes. And I got kind of lots of different like garlic and ginger and turmeric and tamarind, things that I like, and froze them. Ginger, froze all those types of things. I got tons and tons of butter, grass-fed butter. I froze that. And just all kinds of foods that I would want just in case there is a lockdown. Better safe than sorry. I'll eat that food over the next year or two, so I'm not out anything, but I just want to be prepared just in case. So again, I want to reiterate, I don't want to scare anyone or make you fearful or anything, but you just need to be prepared. There's really nothing you can do. I mean, when you think about it, there's nothing you can do. If it's coming to you, it's coming. The virus is going to spread. There's nothing you can do. All you can do is try to be as prepared as you can. Stay home if you feel concerned. Don't go anywhere. There's lots of crowds. or go to hospitals where there are sick people. You just want to try to take sensible precautions and just be as prepared as you can. That's all you can do. You can't really, worrying about it is not going to do anything, but getting informed and preparing will help a lot. So I want to talk about some safety precautions and protocols when you leave your house. These are not going to apply right now, but if you want to employ them right now, great. But these are things you need to be thinking about, especially as there's reports of cases in your area or it's spreading, and the coronavirus is spreading in your area. Okay. So number one, if you go out in a public place, nebulize with a colloidal silver, where you're inhaling this colloidal silver to kill any pathogens in your sinuses and in your lungs as well. Also, face masks. What's the deal with face masks? These are limited in their ability to protect you from the coronavirus. So I'm going to post an article on this subject that's really, really thorough, that talks about surgical face masks and why they're limited in their ability to protect you. And I'll discuss it briefly here, but I want to give you guys this little tidbit right here. This is also in my article. So the mask will block most large droplets that can contain the virus, and then prevent those from entering your mouth and nose, as long as a mask is used properly. But most people don't use them properly. So they have to be completely sealed. One, they have to be an N95 or a P100 mask. They have to create a perfect seal around your mouth. So, and you can't go like scratching your nose or taking it off to talk on your cell phone. And they have to be disposed of after 1 day's use. The paper mask a lot of people are using, those are done in 3 hours, and they have to be disposed of. But another concerning thing that I was told was that a researcher that has worked in bio level 3 hazmat suits says that it has worked these VSL high security labs where they experiment with viruses and creating vaccines and make bioweapons. This person said that even people working in bio level 3 hazmat suits contracted RNA viruses like the novel coronavirus. So if people working in full body hazmat suits can contract the virus, a mask is not going to protect you. But if you're traveling, you want to wear a mask. I mean, I would still wear one. I would still try to take that precaution, especially if you're sick. Masks do prevent you from spreading that to other people, especially if you're in a hospital setting. People need to be wearing the masks. So I just don't want you to overestimate their ability to protect you. Okay, so the masks I recommend are in the checklist, and there'll be links to those on Amazon and eBay to get those. But I wouldn't be stressed if they're out in your area or you can't find them or you can't afford them. They're probably not going to help, unfortunately. So also eye goggles are important because the virus can get in the eyes. It's aerosolized. It's in little droplets. So somebody sneezes. There's reports that it can travel as much as 6 feet. So if that little droplet gets into your eye, you can get it. Full body face masks or swimmer goggles are helpful. You also want to wear, if you go out in public, wear rubber nitrile gloves so that you're not touching stuff and then touching your eyes or scratching your ear or something. You want to wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, especially after going to the bathroom, before eating, and after blowing your nose, coughing, or sneezing. And if soap and water aren't readily available, you can do an alcohol-based or essential oil or colloidal silver-based hand sanitizer. I don't like Purell. There's a lot of chemicals in that. I really prefer the essential oil-based one by ACS 200. That's a gel colloidal silver that I'll put on my hands now after I go out. So you also want to avoid public bathrooms because the virus can spread with toilet flushing that sprays the virus into the air. So that's also something you need to be aware of. That was the case with the SARS virus. And there's also one article that's in, you can get the link to it in my article on my site that shows the virus can be spread with toilet flushing. There's a study that shows that. Hydrogen peroxide. So these can be sprayed on surfaces in your home. You can clean your home with hydrogen peroxide. You can spray it on all mail before it comes into your house. You don't want to drink it internally. You only want to use it externally. But that can be sprayed kind of all over your house to protect you. Lysol also kills it. I don't like that chemical in there, so I prefer hydrogen peroxide. Let's see. So how concerned should we be? So the concern around the coronavirus is growing stronger every day as we see more and more cases around the world. But many of my concerns don't surround the virus itself, but around medication shortages, low food supplies potentially, government lockdowns, government mandated lockdowns and quarantines, people needing to put themselves on lockdown at home, like not wanting to leave home. I'm definitely leaving my house less. Shortages of hospital beds, especially ICUs. So those, and also the economy crashing. Those are my concerns, really, much more so than the coronavirus. So public health experts are also really closely watching reserves of vital medical supplies and medications, many of which are coming from China. There's medications like metformin for diabetes, blood pressure and heart medications, and antibiotics could soon be in short supply because 80% of those, or the active ingredients in them, come from China. We very heavily rely on China, and it's shut down for the most part. The factories aren't working, or in some neighborhoods, the factories aren't allowed to start up. People are quarantined in their homes. They can't get to work. The cars can't drive. They can't go anywhere. And so it's just really because China is so intricately linked to the global economy, it's going to have this ripple effect through our economy. And I'm concerned that if the virus explodes here in the US, it's going to harm businesses. People are going to stop spending money. People are going to be told to stay home, don't come to work. Companies will have to lay off people. Like there's some airlines right now that are laying off 35,000 people. HSBC Bank in Hong Kong just laid off 35,000 people. They're going to over the next few months because their business has been devastated by the coronavirus. It's just the tourism business, travel, other industries are going to be greatly impacted that depend on a supply chain from China. So I have a lot of concerns about that. And also because the nature of the virus is still unknown, public health officials said it's unclear what future challenges hospitals will face if the coronavirus spreads into an epidemic in the United States. So while the current government guidelines call for patients to be treated in specialized isolation rooms, experts say it's unlikely that there will be enough isolation rooms at individual facilities. Like I said before, we have 100,000 ICUs in the US, but this is not going to suffice if we have an outbreak. And also on February 6th, the Department of Defense received a request from the HHS officials to assist with the creation of quarantine sites at military bases near 11 major commercial airports to detain and test passengers suspected of being potentially affected with the COVID-19 coronavirus. So these airports or these military bases or quarantine centers are located in Pearl Harbor, Hickam, and Hawaii. the Great Lakes Training Center Navy Base in Illinois, the Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base in Dallas, Texas, the March Air Force Base in California near LAX, the Travis Air Force Base in San Francisco, the Dobbins Air Force Base in Georgia, Atlanta, Fort Hamilton, New York, near JFK, and the Naval Base Kitsap in Washington, SEA. And so, and another concern of mine is that if people are found to have the coronavirus, you can be detained, isolated, put on quarantine, given medications for compassionate care, even vaccines, and things to help to protect the public from you. So that's a concern also, and the liberties that the government may take with you and your medical rights. So, and so in closing, if we prepare and take precautions, and it turns out the coronavirus is quickly contained in the United States, we will have lost little. I doubt that the coronavirus will be contained here. Right now, there's 30 confirmed cases in the US. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think there's more cases than is being reported. I think the World Health Organization is withholding information from people to prevent panic, to prevent just what people start doing when they're in fear, which is clearing food shelves and hoarding products. And like in Hong Kong right now, there's a shortage of toilet paper. Everyone's bought the toilet paper. People are being robbed for toilet paper right now. This is in Hong Kong. This is one of the most wealthy cities on the planet. And people are scrambling for supplies and food. And so these are things that can happen. That's why I'm trying to warn people before this potentially happens. I want you to get prepared. And that's why I prepared this checklist. And so that's what I'm doing, just, to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And so that's really my message to you. So you guys, there's a link here to get my coronavirus checklist that you guys can grab. And again, I don't want you to be fearful about this. Fear creates, inflammation in your body, and it causes you to be really, really unhealthy. The purpose of this webinar was to give you information so that you can get prepared, so that you don't have to worry, you don't have to be in fear. You're ready for it. You're as ready as you can be. There's not really a lot else that's in your control that you can do. So I just want you to just relax, do as well as do as well as you can. Start getting prepared now. Don't wait. Do it now. Do as much as you can. And I feel really good. I have a tremendous sense of peace of mind because I've been, preparing for about 3 weeks, a month, just, buying a little extra at the grocery store every time I go, ordering stuff online. I ordered stuff on Vital Choice, on Thrive Market, on, Whole Foods, just different things that I need. I've ordered stuff on Amazon. I've gotten all my supplements. I've gotten my Wata water, just all my stuff that I need to, just in case I don't want to leave my house for 3 months. I'm in California. I'm literally in ground zero for this. We have the most cases, the most people traveling internationally, coming from the Far East, coming through LAX and Orange County where I am. So, we're going to have the most cases of anyone. So I'm getting prepared because I feel like in the next few weeks, there will be more and more and more cases, and it will spread. That's my personal opinion based on all the research that I've done. So let me get to your questions here. I'm kind of a little talked out. I've been talking for a couple hours, so I appreciate you guys sticking with me. So let's go backwards on the, okay, so let's start at the top. So can you please give a link for the checklist? Yeah, so this is highlighted in the comments. You can get the checklist here. And let's see. And so you guys, if you don't know it, you can scroll along this comments bar. You can scroll and see other people's comments and other links that I posted. And so Sandy said vogmask.com, organic, excellent customer service. Yeah, you can get a mask there. I know there's also colloidal silver masks as well. Those will probably be much more effective than just a regular mask. And some other questions. So Kathleen, not near LAX. So March Air Reserve Base in Riverside County, previously known as March Air Force Base, is where one of them is. But that is one of the quarantine sites, but there's another one that's near LAX that they're proposing. They may not have announced it yet, but this is an article in the New York Times where it said that there would be the one near LAX that they'll be using to quarantine people going through LAX that are, they suspect might have a temperature or something. They're not really doing very good. They're not doing good measures at all at the airports to screen people. There are so many people going through every day. They're doing these using the infrared temperature gauges, but those are notoriously not completely accurate. People may be taking Tylenol that feel fluey and achy to reduce their temperature, or they're asymptomatic. So as far as I'm concerned, that's going to be extremely limited in screening people and discovering people that could be spreading this. So yes. So the next thing that, so the next question that you guys have. So you said hydrogen peroxide should only be used externally, but it can be used as an antiseptic gargle. Yeah, so you can use it as an antiseptic gargle. You can put it in your ears. I just don't want you drinking it. So just don't drink it. You can take a bath in it. You can take a bath in food grade hydrogen peroxide. That will kill a lot of stuff also as well. But if you put the food grade on your skin, it will kind of burn it white. It'll be white. So you just need to be careful if you put it on your body externally, and don't drink it. You can gargle it, yes, and put it in your ears. And so let's see. So Air Doctor works great. Also, half price sale. Check Dr. Hyman for a link. Yeah, so Air Doctor is good. I mean, I have a guy that's coming on my site that his product is called pureairdoctor.com, and his equipment was sent to 1,000 hospitals in China because it's proven to kill coronaviruses. And so I'll post that link for you guys. I don't have it right now, but it's I don't know, one of the moderators, could you post the article about I don't know if you guys have it yet. No, it's not on the website yet. So I'll have to get that for you guys. I'll try to see if I can find it right now really quickly. This is one of the best air filters on the market. And so this will take me like 2 seconds. And so this link is, here it is. Shoot, I think it might take me a little bit longer to find this than I thought. I had it here. I thought I had it here right away. Oh, here it is. So, so this is for the air filter. That's this guy said that he had about 1,000 hospitals in China where the government there bought these and sent them to hospitals in China and in Yuan right now. So this air filter kills coronaviruses. They have studies to prove that. And so this is what I recommend if you're going to get an air filter. And so, Teresa, how long does the coronavirus live on surfaces? So it's estimated about 6 days. A couple of people have posted 6 days, 9 days. So that's why it's important to kind of spray around your home, spray the hydrogen peroxide. I have an ozone filter. It's just an air filter that emits ozone. So I'm using that, kind of rotating that between rooms. You don't want to breathe in ozone, so you want to do it in a room and then like vent it, air it out, and whatnot. It kills mold too, which is great. So that's something to be aware of. And So Cindy, how long after contact does someone show symptoms? So the average is 3 days from when people get the virus to then showing symptoms, but it can be as long as 14 days and even 24 days in a very, very small percentage of people. And so Corinne, where's the checklist? So the checklist is all over these comments here, tons and tons and tons of comments here that have the checklist. So just scroll in the comments to get the checklist. And we'll also do something where everyone that registered for the webinar will send you the checklist and the article and the replay link of this webinar so that everyone has that. And so Janine, so 20 mule borax, $4.95 at Walmart. You can take a 1/4 teaspoon to a gallon of water, stir till dissolved. Yeah, this will break down nanobots in these bioweapons. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that there's stuff being sprayed in the air that has nanobot technology in it. And it's true, the borax is shown to kill those things, especially people that have Morgellons disease. The borax is really, really important for you guys. So let's see. The next questions is here. So if you have a cloth face mask, how should you clean it? Well, I think that the issue is if you're doing cloth that it's, you have to be very, very careful with like handling that. If you've been kind of going out and about, there's an infection outbreak in your area and you're going out and about, that is a potential exposure. You probably don't want to put that in the dirty clothes and then clean it later. So maybe when you get home, put it in hydrogen peroxide with water or ozone or what have you. And so Janine, so ferment your food, veggies, or make fermented coconut water. Yes, make ice cubes and use for yogurts or add to your regular water. Yeah, very good idea. So is raw honey naturally negative ion charged? Yes, honey is naturally negative ion charged, especially this Manuka honey. It has a very high negative ion charge. That can help too. And not only that, but other foods have a negative ion charge that they impart to your body. And let's see. So you said, Jill, canned fruits are full of sugar. Yes, but it's not like eating a teaspoon of sugar. And so for me, I'm getting canned foods or getting food I wouldn't normally eat because I don't want to starve. I don't want to go hungry. I would never buy canned fruit. But canned pineapple is going to look real freaking good after 3 months of being holed up in my house. So where I normally wouldn't buy that, it's still a very healthy food. But the sugar is different than like say eating, like natural sugars I'm okay with, but it just depends. Like the sugars in fruit is 50% fructose, 50% glucose. That acts much differently in your body than just a spoonful of brown sugar, for instance. So it's just a different animal. And fruits are very healthy for you with all the nutrients, etc. And let's see. So don't animal products make your body acidic though? No. So here's the thing. There's a lot of like misconceptions about alkalinity or being acidic or alkaline or pH. Foods can go in your body and your body has buffers that change the acidity or alkalinity based on what it needs. So if your diet's 50% animal products and that's not right for your body, yes, it could probably make you more acidic. But I recommend people eating maybe 10% animal protein. You can eat much less than that, but you need animal proteins to fortify your cellular membrane. So there's a balance you have to strike. And this is with any food. You can get too much fruit, or you can get too much nuts, or you can eat too many cashews, or you can do too much of anything that's healthy. So it's about eating the right amount for your body. That's going to be different from everyone. So So Janine, so yes, sprouts are easy and cheap, can even use a jar. I'm on disability, so research food and seeds for vitamins and minerals. So yeah, you can grow sprouts in a jar. You don't have to have a fancy sprouter like I do. My sprouter just, waters stuff itself, and I just have to pour water, and it waters it 5 times a day, and 5 days later, poof, magically I have sprouts. So I like that, but you can just grow them in a jar. But they can get moldy in jars. They just don't, maybe not, they don't have the aeration that like a machine does, but people do it. So that's also an option. So Kristen, how do we pay a mortgage during those times? Let's see, I guess that one went away. So, someone said that, how do they pay a mortgage during those times? Well, and that's my concern also, is that I hope that the recession that China is beginning to experience doesn't creep over into our companies and our stock market and make people freak out and not want to spend money. But frankly, I'm not spending money on anything except essentials that I need right now. I'm not buying anything that I don't absolutely need to live on for the next 3 to 6 months. So it's not important right now. And so I beg people to maybe think along the same lines. You can't be hurt by saving money or stocking up on food that you're going to eat anyways. And so my plea to you is to please prepare, and please prepare as best you can. And, and so I thank you guys for tuning in. There's a few more questions here. Victoria, so Wendy, how do we detox during these times, especially if we are limiting going out? Well, I mean, there's lots of stuff you can do at home. Coffee enemas are amazing to help your liver function, to clear out toxins. You can take supplements for detoxification. You do infrared sauna is amazing for getting your immune system on board, because infrared saunas stimulate 90 different heat shock proteins, which are essential components of your immune system. So those are really helpful also for inducing this faux fever that kills infections. So that's something I'm doing also. And so Janine, I mention it because it can cost money, and we need ways for people to know they can protect themselves. So Wendy, what kind of sprouter do you have? Oh, I have an easy green. That's the one that I use, because has 5 little trees and you can grow 5 different kinds of sprouts. So I do broccoli, I do radish, I do I'll do alfalfa, or I'll do garlic sprouts, I'll do onion sprouts, I'll do mustard sprouts to make mustard greens. I do garlic sprouts, I do micro basil, micro arugula. I have a mixed lettuce mixes. I have pea sprouts that I grow. I just try to eat sprouts and incorporate them into my diet. And then sometimes I throw them in my yard, my grass, or my yard rather, and they grow. So I'll get broccoli, I'll grow onions, I'll grow the mustard greens, which are amazing, which you can't buy in the store. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And so people keep seeing the links disappearing. I wonder if like a certain amount of comments kind of disappear after a while. And let's see. So I guess that's pretty much all of the comments here in the chat. I hope some of these didn't get erased. Yeah, you know what? It looks like some of these are disappearing out of view, which is odd. So I'm really sorry I couldn't get to your earlier questions. If anyone has any further questions that didn't get answered, please post them again. So Victoria, this has just been so helpful, the absolute best. Thank you, Wendy, for your help and your love. Yeah, it's my pleasure, because I'm here to serve. I'm here to help you guys. I know I normally talk about heavy metal detox, but this is something that is important for your health, that pertains to your health. And I just felt compelled to research this and then tell you guys what I was learning And as I'm concerned about this for myself, for my daughter, for my family, for you guys. And so I wanted to communicate what I know. So let's see. So number A. So you said, how can a small pendant protect you from EMF? They don't explain how it works. So this is how this Harmony pendant works. So it has nothing to do with the metal or anything on it. This Harmony pendant is activated bioenergetically to your body. So what happens is when you're holding this about a foot out, it helps to correct your body's energy field. And so it corrects your body's energetic functioning, where it kind of tunes it up, so to speak. And in part, by having your body working better correctly energetically, that prevents EMFs or electromagnetic fields from impacting you as much. So, and you have to kind of reactivate this or tune your body up about once a week for it to keep working. And I know this sounds kind of ridiculous, especially to people that don't know anything about bioenergetics, don't know anything about Nest Health that I've been talking about for 3 years, don't know anything about energy medicine. But we have studies that prove this. So we have a study done with 33 participants that had an 80% of people had an improvement in their heart rate variability, which is a measure of stress. They had an improvement in their biophoton field. And I just had Sergi on the podcast yesterday talking about this, how your mitochondria actually produce 30 volts of electricity each one of them. And this is controlled in the energy field by the biophoton field, is this kind of energy field the mitochondria put off. And this lights up after getting harmonized or activated with this pendant. You can see this on different types of cameras. You can see this on a BioWell machine. You can see this on an HRV machine. One's called the Dynamica. One is called the Vericar. There's different types of them. So we also see that people have a lot of markers of, they report less stress, they report better energy, better sleep, less pain, which means less inflammation. We just had a whole host of people have amazing results with this. Dr. Mercola wears this. Dave Asprey has been harmonized with this. Not Ben Greenfield, but we've had, I had a talk with Sergi the other day. I'm sending him one of these. Dr. Eric Zielinski, him and his whole family wear one of these pendants. There's a lot of people. I'm trying to get the word out to people, and I know it just sounds kind of strange, but we have another study that has 150 participants. That's not finished yet, but amazing results so far. Not surprising to me. I'm just trying to do a study to prove to people what I already know, what the pendant does, but just a simple explanation of how it works. But we'll have more and more information on the Harmony pendant as time goes on. We have to kind of produce these videos that explain to people how it works, or frequently asked questions that people have. So more on that later. So does silver kill good bacteria too? It depends on the silver. So not all silvers are created equal. So here's the lowdown on silver. So this silver right here, this is about the size of the silver is what matters. So the size of this silver is about 80 to 90 microns or nanometers. And when something's that large, it can kill gut bacteria. Okay. But, this is like an antibiotic. You don't want to just take it randomly, but I'm just taking it right now to, clear my terrain. And I'm going to take it if I get sick. Okay. But there are other products on the market that are even colloidal silvers that are as small as 2 microns. And when it's that small, it will not kill gut bacteria, because a virus has about like a 1 membrane protection. Probiotics or good gut bugs have 3 membranes. And so the small micron colloidal silvers won't kill gut bacteria. Okay. And they'll just pass right through your body. And some silvers are more charged than others. But the ones that say alkaline are more charged. There's a silver that I have that I'm using, but it's not commercially available. But it's made on the full moon, so it has 10 times the charge of colloidal silvers that are produced otherwise. They don't know why it works that way, but it just does. When you're taking colloidal silver, you do not want to take it with a metal spoon, and preferably you don't want it in glass. It sounds weird, but glass removes the charge of products. That's why this Wata water is in plastic, because glass would absorb the electrons or the charge. And you don't want that with Wata that you're trying to ground your body with and get electrons, or with colloidal silver that has a charge on it. That's part of how it works. So this sovereign silver large bottles in glass, but most of the better silver products are in plastic for that reason. So don't be concerned if a silver's in plastic. You want to take the silver with a plastic spoon also, or a wooden spoon is fine. You don't want to take it with a metal spoon. So those are some distinctions there. There's also the parts per million. So the sovereign silver is 10 parts per million. This Pana silver here, I don't know off the top of my head what the part per million is, but some are 10 parts per million and some are even 30 parts per million. So there's going to be more concentration of silver in the liquid in which the silver is suspended. So those are some distinctions there. Let's see. So Jay, do we pause our heavy metal detox protocol? I wouldn't. I'm not pausing what I'm doing for detox because, metals interfere in immune system functioning. We know that lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic interfere in the body's white blood cells, the macrophages, the lymphocytes, and other components of the immune system, and slows them down. It interferes in their function. So I wouldn't be quitting anything, but I would just be adding immune-based supplements, immune supporting supplements to what you're doing. Just be concentrating more on that. And I'm doing my infrared sauna, which you guys can see here. This is my little Sauna Fix sauna. That's what I use. Kind of just roll over after the webinar and slide right in there and cook for half an hour. And I'm also doing the coffee enemas, which are amazing for helping your liver process infections and just detox your body. So no, I wouldn't be pausing heavy metal detox. And so next question here. So where do you get your seeds? So I just got them on Amazon. It's just easy. You only want to get organic seeds for sprouting. Because the non-organic ones could be like irradiated or have pesticides or whatever. So I just buy organic ones. And so let's see. So a comment here from Nitsa about making some differentiation about essential oils. Yeah, so copaiba is a form of frankincense, and boswellia is a frankincense. And but there's a lot of different types of essential oils that are really helpful. But for viral cytokine storms, cytokines just cause all the symptoms like runny nose and watery eyes and sneezing and maybe food sensitivity reactions and whatnot. So some essential oils can really help calm these cytokine storms and help ease symptoms. So they can be really good to use. So that would be the frankincense, boswellia, and copaiba, which are what I recommend. So can you use colloidal silver if you have COPD or chronic pulmonary disease, bronchitis, asthma, and heart disease? Yes, you can. It's not going to hurt you. If anything, it could help, to clear any bacteria or infection or mold that you have in your lungs and sinuses that are contributing to your symptoms and health condition. So yes, you can. And so the name of the air filter, the one I like is it's called the pureairdoctor.com. That's the one that I like. And so when you guys kind of download the checklist, you have to give your name and email, and then we have to email it to you. We can't deliver it to you any other way. So, so you see the link here to download the checklist. Just once you sign up, then you'll get the checklist emailed to you, and you can download it. Annabelle, if the risk is mainly to the elderly or those with pre-existing illnesses, isn't someone with a good immune system better to get it and move on? So a 3 to 6 months shutdown seems pretty extreme. Well, I don't want to really take my chances. I mean, there are people that, in their 30s that are dying from it, that are dying from coronavirus. It's not all old people. There are medical doctors, like the doctor that first sounded the alarm on coronavirus. He was in his, I think late 30s. He passed from it. He succumbed. So it's not, that's just a general statement that I made, that it's mostly older people, and people with health issues could have a problem. But if you are, and that's why I went over these different points. If you get really, really sick and you need to go to a hospital and there isn't a hospital bed, you're going to be in trouble when otherwise you wouldn't. So it's the same thing. If you got in a really bad car accident, and you couldn't get medical care, you're going to have a reduced chance of surviving. So that is a potential issue you need to think about when it comes to this virus. So if you contracted the virus and then it advanced to really bad pneumonia and you couldn't breathe, and you went to a hospital and you had all the bleeping machines and you had 3 nurses catering to you and had all the medications, and there wasn't any shortages of medications or IV bags, and you had the best case scenario, or you even had that machine, say you advanced to the point where you needed a machine that actually does artificial respiration for you. They can hook you up and filter out your blood. If your lungs aren't working or completely filled with fluid, they can do artificial respiration with machines. But what if none of those are available? What if that level of care isn't available? That's what I'm talking about. That's what you have to think about with this. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. And so that's not a risk that I'm willing to take. I would rather buy 3 to 6 months of food and just do everything I can to insulate myself. If I even have, there could be a government imposed lockdown. Do you think the 150 million people in China ever thought for a second in their life that they would ever be holed up in their house for months? No. So don't think that might not happen. It could. It could. So, or for me, I'm just not going out unless I have to right now. It's just, I am not traveling. I'm not getting on a plane. I'm not going in an area where there's large groups of people, because I don't know what's happening outside. I don't know how many people. I know that a handful of people have it in California, but those people flew in on a plane and went through an airport and then took a taxi and then hung out with their friends and visited with their family. And they, it just, when you think about it for a second, it just boggles the mind. Not to mention all of the people that flew into the airport that were not monitored because we didn't know about the virus yet. The virus started in November in China. So we've had people going through the airport since November and December, and then people traveling from here to China for the Chinese New Year and coming back. And then people just are traveling all over the world anyways that, don't happen to be Chinese. So these people have flown all over the world. So no, I am not, just because I'm young and healthy, discounting any other, that's not for me a sense of security at all. But I'm just, like I said, I'm preparing just in case and taking sensible precautions right now. So Jordan, can you speak to pregnancy and travel to Europe? Is it safe now? I would not travel. I would not take that chance. I see people on Facebook still traveling. I'm like, have you read what's going on right now? Are you following this at all? I mean, there's new cases. There's cases in France, or cases in Germany. There's cases in UK. This is in Europe right now. There's two cases in Iran. It's going to get around. And so, no way in hell would I travel if I was pregnant right now. I just wouldn't. It's not worth the risk, and I just would not travel at all. So let's see. So next, next questions here. So Nitsa, so modulates the EMF pollution, helps balance your biophoton field. Some contain nanocrystals in a plant resin. So yeah, this is, like I said, it's not the material of this harmony pendant that's doing anything. It's the whole pattern. Sorry, I left that out. So it's this whole pattern here that the founder of this harmony pendant, Robert Marking, I guess it just came to him that this whole pattern and other whole patterns also, it's not just this one, but this whole pattern specifically helps to, correct your body's energy field. And when that's balanced, you have an increased ability to handle different kinds of stressors, not just EMF, but other stressors as well, and protect yourself from them. And so I'll talk more about that. You guys can learn more about that. There's a few podcasts with Robert Marking you can search for on myersdetox.com. He definitely does a better job of explaining how it works than I do. But this has been used with, thousands and thousands of people, pro athletes, health celebrities, just all kinds of people from all walks of life. So there's just hundreds and hundreds of testimonials for it. So let's see. So Wendy, do you think the Nano V machine helps? Yes. So I have my Nano V right here. I love my Nano V machine. This is something that I use because it helps it's hard to explain what it does. There's a podcast about it if you want to type in Nano V on myersdetox.com. It's hard to explain what it does, but it helps your redox signaling, which is part of detoxification in your body. And it helps, it's really helpful for immunity. Anytime I feel like I'm starting to get sick, I'll use this and do some other things. I never end up getting sick, and I haven't for years. And so the Nano V is one of the things that I do, but I try to remember to do it every day. I don't always remember it, but I try to do it every day. It's awesome. So what kind of infrared sauna would you recommend? So this is the sauna I use at the Sauna Fix. If you go on store.myersdetox.com, you'll see links to the Sauna Fix, or just type in infrared saunas and the Sauna Fix will come up. And that's one I use. And so let's see. So thanks, Wendy from Nebraska. So in the middle with the isolation cams and positive cases at our medical center. Yeah. When you have those cases there and they're near you, beware, because the coronavirus gets through these hazmat suits, so that the isolation of some of these people just gives me zero peace of mind, because I've just heard from, this one lady that worked at these VSL3 labs, and she said all the lab workers at these bioweapon labs, they all get the diseases that they're studying, or the animals that they inject with it to test them get out, or they scratch the lab workers or something. And it just gets out, and so, so even with the best precautions, so that just would not give me peace of mind at all. So let's see. So Lena, so is there a difference in the effectiveness of the original pendant and the present one? No, there's no difference in effectiveness. They just look different, just a different design, because this is, women like this more. I certainly like this better than the dog tag old one. So this was designed for women, but they work the same. Let's see. So Kathy, can you apply the same protocol for kids? Yeah, as far as the supplements, you would just reduce them based on their body weight. So you wouldn't take the amount on the label. You'd, cut that, by maybe a third, 2/3. So Victoria, is the alkaline silver okay then? So I kind of explained alkaline silver a minute ago. So it just depends on the silver. So it just really depends on the pH, the size of the silver is what matters, not if it's alkaline or not. So, or charged. Alkaline silver means negatively charged silver. That's what that means. So the size of the silver depends on whether it kills good bacteria or not. Okay, so I don't like it when I see these articles like, oh, sterling, like colloidal silver that kills all your good gut bacteria. The same thing I see these articles, oh, zeolites, they have aluminum in them. That's just people that don't know what they're talking about. There's these differentiations you have to make. With any product, there's going to be a huge spectrum of quality. So you cannot say, oh, all zeolites this and all colloidal silvers that. Just that, or all vitamin C's are bad. Like what? Or all vitamin D is bad. No, you have to make distinctions on different forms and just different properties of different products. So let's see. So you said cistus tea would be good. How about diffusing cistus essential oils? So that may be good, but what comes with a cistus tea, it has to be this very specific form that's in this tea. This is by BioPure. Love BioPure products. That Dr. Klinghardt formulated these. So it has to be cistus incanus. It can't be other types of cistus. It's not the same. It's not going to have that same protective thing where it prevents viruses from penetrating cell membranes. So I don't know what kind of cistus essential oil you have, but it has to be this very specific cistus incanus. Okay. Let's see. Next question here. So let's say you had to travel, anything extra you would do. So, I would bring my nebulizer. I would be nebulizing colloidal silver after the plane, before getting on the plane. Anytime I went out in public, I would be nebulizing the silver and taking it internally. I would just be taking all these supplements. I may be doing IV vitamin C is what I would doing, and just try to eat as healthy as I could, low carb, low sugar, protect from EMF. That's what I would be doing. Let's see. So you recommend cistus tea. So I answered that. Can I give you a link for the sauna that you're using? Yes. So the sauna that I have, I'll send you a link to that. And so there's a kind of a page on my site that has a lot of information about infrared saunas, or the SaunaFix sauna in particular. And there's also a webinar on my site as well. So I'll give you guys a link to that too. So this is the SaunaFix sauna. You can get that there. And there's also another webinar that you can watch on this that's really, really neat. And so you can just register for this webinar. And it's like a 3-hour webinar also, or just every question you have about infrared saunas, it will be answered on that infrared sauna webinar. So there's that link right there for you guys. So Nicole, so my husband is in California and needs a back surgery. We're concerned to go ahead and do it or delay it. Well, right now, I don't think there's as much of a concern like in hospitals. I wouldn't want to go to a hospital right now. But it's one of those things, if he needs the back surgery to function, I would just go ahead and do it, as soon as possible is what I would do. But it's really your call and what's kind of resonating with you right now and what it is that you need to do. But those surgeries can be done at outpatient centers, at doctors' offices. They're not always done in hospitals. So you might want to explore that as an option too, rather than going to like a mainstream hospital. So April, where do you buy the Wata? So you just go to aquanew.com. So AQUANEW.com, and you can buy it. You can get it on Amazon too, but you get a discount like $3 to $5 if you use the code Energy Water at checkout. And so this was awesome. I love it. I went to Mexico for a week over the Christmas holiday, and can you believe this? I was planning to go to Beijing and Hong Kong for Christmas. And I decided for some reason, it was just, there were a lot of logistics and visas and sending your passport off and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put that off till the summer. And I was going to go to do like a month in China, Beijing, Hong Kong, and whatnot, and in Southeast Asia, and Southwest Asia. I was going to go there over the holidays. And something told me not to do it, and just to delay that trip. And I'm glad I did, but I went to Mexico, and so I'm just drinking regular water there, Fiji or whatever I can get my hands on. And then by the end of that week, I was so dehydrated. I could really tell the difference in my hydration levels and just how I felt. Got home, I had my water finally, and I started having I had that brain euphoria for a day after starting to drink it again, because I really flooded my body with oxygen and hydrogen and electrons, which I had become deficient in again. So I know this stuff works. It's just it's really, you can't miss it when you first start drinking this water, but you have to be careful with it. You don't want to just get this and guzzle it right away. Do not do that, because this can get your body starting to detox. This can't, for someone that's really, really sick, you want to take it really slow, maybe even just 1 ounce a day, and work your way up. And they'll tell you that when you buy it. If you go on aquanew.com, they'll talk about that. But this stuff, you want to start slow and titrate up. And I started that when I first got it, I drank a half a liter. I was like, I'm not terribly sensitive. I'm really healthy. But I felt really euphoric doing that. But I did the half a liter, and then now I'm drinking about 1 liter a day. You don't need more than that. For about 1 liter of this is equivalent to about 4 liters of regular water, which is interesting. But I can tell that I really don't need a ton of water. I drink this, and I'm super, super hydrated. And I use the healthy salt. I put the healthy salt in it as well. And I'll give you guys another tip. I haven't talked about this yet, but I also put this laser enhanced water in the water. It's called waybackwater.com. And you just put like a teaspoon of this in the water, and it's laser enhanced. It just has a lot of different benefits. I'm trying to get the guy on the podcast, but he's not responding to me. But that's supposed to be just phenomenal. Waybackwater.com. And I don't feel a huge difference without the Wayback water, but I do feel amazing. I've already been taking the water. I think if I had been doing the Wayback water with just regular water, I'd be like, oh my God, it's amazing. I can feel it. But because I've been doing this for a while, I probably don't feel as much of a jump as someone that hasn't been using it. Okay, so Nicole, he's got a 14 millimeter tear and is on pain meds that make him sick, so he endures the pain. You need to start doing CBD. I'm telling you, this 1,000 milligrams CBD, if he starts taking it every day after a week or two, he's not going to be in pain. He's not going to need the pain meds. This company also has a 2,500 milligrams CBD concentration, which might be that they give to cancer patients for pain. That's an option too. This stuff is amazing. That's what I'd be doing right now in the interim from the Green Compass. So there's a link to this in my preparedness checklist, but I'll give it to you guys again because I love this stuff so much. I just feel like it has just really changed my brain focus. I feel so laser light focused in my brain, even more so than I did before. And I'm just really, really thankful because I've tried CBDs before, but I wasn't really as impressed by them. Like I didn't really feel like a change from them, or I wasn't taking it correctly. I was taking like a capsule or whatnot, or I would eat it like in a chocolate or something like that. And I really didn't know what I was doing. But I started, researching it and learning more about CBD. And I'm going to have a webinar pretty soon about CBD and how to take it correctly. But this is the CBD product that I'm recommending right now because of its efficacy that I can vouch for, and because it's tested for 130 different chemicals, and it's amazing for immunity. So that's what I would be doing for the pain. It's amazing stuff. They also have a cool skincare line, which I'm all about too. So Steph, so I need to travel to Greece in May for family. Do you think it'll be safe by then? Well, only time will tell. I'm not making any travel plans right now or buying tickets or expending any money that I may not be able to get a refund for. But if you have your tickets, just wait and see. I mean, you can always cancel at the last minute, so it's just time will tell when this plays out, when it peaks. It'll eventually go away. But it hasn't peaked here in the US. It hasn't peaked anywhere yet. So we just have, only time will tell where it's going. So how do we know the size of the silver? So you just have to call, it'll be either be on the bottle or you have to contact the manufacturer. So sovereign silver is a great one, but it is a large particle size, so it will kill gut bacteria. I have one that I'm using personally that a friend makes it, but I don't, it's not available commercially. There's a possibility I might manufacture it, for people, but I don't know. That's not really what I want to get into, but, this silver is really, really amazing, but it's just not commercially available at the moment. So I'm just telling you what I know, but you want to make sure that your silver is small micron. A coronavirus is a 1 micron in size. So, it's best if you have like a really small 2 or 3 micron size of colloidal silver, but bigger is also fine. It will kill viruses, but it will also it could potentially get good gut bacteria as well. But right now, we're not as worried about that. We're worried about just protecting ourselves. And silver is one of the best things you can do if you get a virus to help to neutralize it. So Victoria, you put so much time, energy, and research into this. Thank you. So much appreciated. Yeah, it's just, I started out just for myself learning about this. Just this virus got my attention and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And it just has mushroomed far beyond and so much faster than anyone has anticipated. And I've just been following it really closely. Every spare minute I have, I'm reading the latest article, seeing what the researcher says, seeing what the news is saying, looking at the conspiracy theories, not touching on those in this webinar, but I'm just looking at a lot of different, news, researchers, videos, talking to people, to try to get the right information to help you guys, and to help to prepare. And this is what I'm doing. I'm not normally a nervous Nelly. I'm not normally, conspiracy theory or survivalist or the end of the world. That's not my personality, but I do like to prepare. And I do like the feeling of security. And I do feel, I do want to know. I want to know what is happening, so that I can make decisions as early as possible that will help me or my family. And so that's why I'm doing this, to give you the information you need to act on or not act on. You might be like, I don't care. There's nothing that I can do. I'm not going to worry about it. Some people are taking that, like my fiance. That's his kind of mentality. He just doesn't care. He's like, Jesus has me, and, I don't have to worry about anything else. And, that's great. That's just not my personality. I just need to be prepared. So for those of you who feel compelled to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best, that this is for you. So next question here. So, so the current Harmony pendants on the other people's website are ugly. They're not round like yours. Well, yeah, so it's the same company. It's the same company that there's just a new website created called harmonypendant.com. Robert Marking developed both of these pendants. These are both his pendants, but we just made a new one for women, so that women and people just like round pendants would be more interested in it, and nicer packaging and better, like, in studies and information about it, so that people get interested in enough to try it. Because I feel like this pendant is some of the most important work that I do. Honestly, I feel like people have to protect from EMF. They have to ground their body. They have to have their energy balanced and their energy field kind of made whole for their body to work correctly. So this is a very kind of basic thing I like to do with people, and a very simple, easy, and it's kind of cool to wear functional jewelry. I'm really enjoying. I love this pendant. So it's something that I recommend to people because it solves a lot of different problems at once, and it reduces stress, which throws a big wrench in detox, throws a wrench in sleep, throws a wrench in just peace of mind, and people being in a state that they need to be in to heal and detox. So that's another reason that I use it. So I'm excited on getting the word out about this more. I have tons of stuff up my sleeve, all kinds of studies that we're trying to do. We're going to put together an EMF study. We're going to put together a sleep study, a sports performance study. There's lots of stuff coming. So to prove to you guys that don't, maybe haven't had the foresight that I've had, or haven't had the experience that I've had of seeing hundreds of people have these pendants activated on them and experience the benefits. I want to try to convince you guys of this. So there'll be lots of studies soon about this, so that any guys that are like, yeah, right, BS, I'll have studies to back up everything that I'm saying. So let's see. So Christina, I have an infrared sauna and it is awesome. So Becky, what about the hydrogen tablets? So you don't need those if you drink water. This is going to give you way more hydrogen than a hydrogen tablet. That's why I don't really talk about hydrogen tablets. I don't get excited about that, because with the gas that's infused in this water has oxygen, hydrogen, and electrons. It floods your bodies with those things. Because the problem with the hydrogen tablets is you don't just need hydrogen, you also have to have oxygen for your cells to work. So if you flood it with hydrogen, but there's no oxygen, it's not going to work as well. So it's like, having magnesium without calcium, or taking vitamin D without calcium, and taking vitamin D without magnesium and vitamin K. It's not going to go into your body as well, or be utilized as well. So that's what I recommend for that. And so you guys, it's getting kind of late right now. I know you guys have a lot of questions, and there's a handful of people here, but I need to eat. I need to stop talking. My mouth is saying, please, please stop talking. So I hope this was educational for you guys. I wanted to do this for you so that you could prepare. I just don't think that the news media is not taking this seriously enough. I think the World Health Organization is withholding information, so there isn't a public panic. I think the number of cases that we see in the US are just the tip of the iceberg. I think there's far more cases. I think that this is going to spread in the US and around the globe. I think most people have nothing to worry about it whatsoever at all. Even though it's more contagious and a little bit more deadly than the flu, it's not any worse than getting a flu. But I've expressed all of my concerns and outlined them clearly in this webinar. So I implore you to get prepared. I beg you to do that, just in case. That's my one ask from you. So thank you for tuning in. You'll get a replay of this after it's done, so you can watch it from the beginning. Any of you that tuned in late, and so you'll get a replay link right after this. So thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, and I care about you, and I want you to take care and get prepared with you and your family. Okay. Hey, talk to you soon.